Alright, hello gamers, Mugluck here, and this is another video about trying things out in the Spear beta. For those that don't know, Guild Wars 2 gave us a few days where we could try out the Spear weapons that are being added in the Janthir expansion, which comes out in August, a bit early. This is like a early access look at them, so they are not finely tuned, so you can just try them out and then give them feedback. And this one is devoted to the Necromancer. Now, the Necromancer Spear, first let's just talk about what it does. The one skill is just a standard auto chain, however, the first hit does chill. It does 3 hits, so the first hit and then every 3 hits does chill after it. It also stacks up a mechanic called soul shards. You can see those floating around me, those 6 green prongs. Also, there's a little buff right there that you can see as well. The 2 button will spend the shards to do extra damage. So you'll see a whole bunch of extra damage numbers when you use the 2, and also it does some life stealing, I believe, when you have the shards. The 3 button will daze your target and gain a little bit of life force and some soul shards. If they're in the middle of using a skill, it kind of acts like a counter spell. The daze is extended and you get more life force and soul shards. And if you have a bunch of soul shards right when you use the skill, it can immobilize them. And that was it. It's very hard to see. I'm gonna use the 3 again. Hang on a sec. That was it. That is very, very quick little stab there. The 4th ability is Isolate. You throw a spear, and then if you hit the button again, you teleport to your target, okay? And that does vulnerability and chill, and it is unblockable as well. The 5 skill is called Extirpate. Has a 1-second cast time, does damage around you, gives you might and soul shards, and removes boons, and prevents the next 3 boons they would get. This is Extirpate. That's what it looks like. Here's one more time. And that's it. Now, clearly from looking at how this setup works, the kit was made with PvP in mind. You've got the ability to jump on a foe and to take away their ability to get boons, to rip boons off of them, to possibly immobilize them to the ground, do burst of damage, and chill them. So just land right on them and be like, oh my wa Shindaru, and then just mess them up real bad. And that is clearly the intent. Now, I am not confident enough in my necromancy skills, because I haven't mained this in a couple years, to go into PvP with this. So I tried it out on, just PvE situations, beating on the golem. Now, the weapon is primarily a power weapon. There are no damage dealing conditions on this weapon. However, the Reaper class has a Condi Reaper build, where every time they apply chill to a target, they also inflict bleed. And so any weapon that can do chill will do bleed also. The popular choice for that is the Greatsword. The reason for that is the Greatsword, like the Spear, does chill on every 3rd hit, but it also can do a lot of blind with Nightfall, which can be converted into more dots, and it has a Whirl Finisher, which in an ice field is more chill, which is more bleed. And Grasping Darkness does chill too. So when you're comparing the Spear directly to the Greatsword for Condi Reaper, the Spear is a worse Greatsword. Additionally, the Greatsword flat out does more power damage. When I tried both on the dummy, now the numbers I got were far below what is the current parse for them, the benchmark for them, because I don't main this class. But when I tried it with Greatsword, I got like 5k higher DPS than when I tried it with the Spear. When I looked at the Necromancer Spear beta feedback thread on the Guild Wars 2 subreddit, I saw a whole lot of people saying similar. Another issue I noticed was life force generation. This is the standard build that many high-level Reapers do that are doing power. I was really struggling with life force. There is 5% life force on every full auto chain, and there is 10% on the 3. None here, none here, none here. When I was running either Greatsword or Swords or Dagger Sword, I could easily refill the life force tank before it was time to go back into Reaper Shroud. With Spear, I could not do that, and thus it reduced how often I could go into Reaper Shroud. That made it to where I felt like I needed to bring Summon Shadow Fiend or Signet of Undeath for more life force generation. So I had to take abilities to get more life force that I did not have to take when I was running the other weapons. Now, some of that could be chalked up to me bad, because this is not the class I main. I am probably among the classes I'm knowledgeable on. This is probably a number 3 out of 9, because I did used to main Necro, so I am comfortable with it. But I'm not like breaking any records or anything like that. Yeah, in PvE at the moment, I don't see a use for this. In PvE right now, it feels like a worse greatsword for both power and Condi builds, and it just doesn't seem like it has a use. The kit looks promising, just the numbers right now are bad. In PvP, a lot of folks are saying the 5 was really hard to land on people because of the cast time and, enemies moving away from you. However, something that we found is the 5 you can start casting the 5 and then use the second part of the 4. So you could tag someone, start casting, and port right on top of them when it finishes, which I think is going to be the way to use it. So it'll probably be something like 4-5-4-3. So like you tag them, start casting 4-3. So in that combo, I landed on them, did the burst, and did the 3 all at almost the same time, which did vuln, chill, put me behind them, ripped their boons off, gave me might, blocked their next few boons, and then dazed them, possibly countered whatever they were casting, and possibly immobilized them. And then you can stab them in the face or go Reaper Shroud. Because again, you could do this from 1200 range, and then do that, and then you're right on their head. You're right on top of them. So I mean, that's going to be the terrifying thing, is you get tagged with the first part of that spear, and then they just start doing their combo and teleport on you right as the combo is like, finishing the cast time, and then just boom, you blow up. Yeah, you could even throw some shouts into the mix too, because those are instant. So I think it has promise in PvP, especially to people that have, faster Reaper reflexes than I do. It's just right now the damage seems on the low side. Another thing that I have seen a lot is soul shards wear off quite quickly. Like if I'm only autoing and I'm doing nothing else, I can't even keep up the full stack of soul shards the whole time. So you notice we've got 4 shards floating above me, and now 5, and then 6, and then back to 5, and then there's 6, and then back to 5, and that's it. So even just purely autoing, which has like some of the highest soul shard generation, I can't even keep 6 up. They last 10 seconds each, so after 10 seconds, the oldest one falls off, and then you put up a new one. So seeing some complaints that soul shards should have longer duration, maybe a thing. I do think it's kind of nice. You don't really have to think about the soul shards too much. Just know that, if you've done other moves, the next time you do 2 is amplified. While on the topic of the 2, another thing we noticed, the 2 hits harder if the enemy's below 50% health, which is great. Very similar to Gravedigger, which is the greatsword ability that hits harder when they are low health. However, even with max soul shards and the target low health, this doesn't do as much damage as Gravedigger, which does not have the soul shard system. So it does do some life stealing, but the bottom line is, once again, in yet another mechanic, it feels like a worse greatsword. So I think that's it. Life force, very poor. Damage, not great, but that's easily changed. If it were up to me, I think one more skill needs life force generation on it. Like the greatsword, if we're doing some direct comparisons, right? Greatsword, the 1 auto chain generates 9% life force, okay? The dagger auto chain generates 12% life force. The spear auto chain generates 5, okay? And then there's 3 spear skills that generate 0, and then Addle generates 10. And then if we go back to greatsword, you get 3 for that, and you get 10 for that. And then also the auto chain was better. Dagger 3 does 5, but again, the dagger main chain does 12, so that's really good. And then dagger gives you the room for like an offhand sword, which has like 10 on the 5. Or you could do main hand swords as well, and main hand swords generate respectable amounts of life force as well. So I was starved for life force. The kit is kind of wasted on PvE, but in terms of raw damage, it just doesn't keep up right now. In PvP, I think it has the potential to be terrifying, especially if someone is good at lining up that combo where they land on you and you've already been hit by 3 different skills and some shouts right when they get there, Maybe even like the, now the more I think about it, maybe like chill to the bone or something, right? Like they could tag you with the spear and then start casting chill to the bone and then hit you with that like right when they land on your head. And yeah, there's a lot of potential there. You know, getting that first unblockable hit and then start casting something nasty and then pour right on top of you has the potential to be very scary. It reminds me of like Willbenders that poured on me and Blender me, or, you know, certain Herald builds that do similar things with their Mist Assault, stuff like that. It could be like that. Right now, though, it just feels like if I took this into a fight, I'd pour it on someone and then put this away and get out a real weapon as fast as possible, just because the damage is so subpar and the life force just generation doesn't keep up. Okay, I think I've covered everything. At this point, I think I'm starting to talk in circles. I think I covered all the bullet points I wanted to share. If you are a more experienced Necromancer and you had a better experience with this than I did, and you want to point out anything I did wrong, please put it in the comment section down below, and I'll fight you there.